No, I never heard anything about it. I don't even know what I mean, to be honest with you, nothing bad intended. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. Yes, sir.
Okay, this guy here, on the way here, last name, this guy coaching me, doing my impression. Okay. So you came up with all this stuff. You had all this stuff. Custom made, you head to toe, long limousines, fine clothes, jet airplanes. Where did that come from? I mean, you just didn't wake up.
Nobody wrote that down for me.
Did you develop it over some time?
I developed it and I did it. So nothing I said I didn't do, unfortunately. Sometimes it worked out for me, sometimes it didn't. Yeah, I spent a lot of money doing that. But I believed in my gimmick, and I believed it wasn't a gimmick, it was me. That's what I was, and I don't regret it. But I mean, all I did was just on the fly. Yeah, thank you. It's all trademark, don't use it. Okay, Who do I respect the most right now that's currently wrestling? Well, my best friend in the business is Hunter. It's not a surprise. But I respect all the guys. And anybody that's up there on that main roster, I mean, NXT as well. It's an incredible time and work and travel. And those guys pay a lot of sacrifices. It's not like, when I started, it was a lot of travel all the time, 3,000 miles a week. Those guys are still doing, 200 plus days a year, 250 probably. If they've seen it, or they're probably doing close to 300 a year. And that's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of travel. So I like all of them. I love John Cena. Everybody knows that. And I like Randy Orton a lot. I like all the kids. Yeah. The guys that I hung around with the most, like Shawn and Undertaker, never gone. So, but I like all the guys. I love it. When I go up there for Raw, so I have a great time. But it's pretty toned down right now, man. It's a different world than when we used to run around in the 80s and 90s. It's a controlled environment.
Come to Niagara Falls ComicCon for a 3-day celebration of pop culture featuring more than 150,000 square feet of exhibits, comic books, memorabilia, celebrities, the video game arena, Falls Horror Fests, and more. Come and meet more than 30 celebrities, including the legend himself, William Shatner, Breaking Bad's Giancarlo Esposito, TV Superman Dean Cain, Woo, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, the 7th Dr. Sylvester McCoy, 90210's Jason Priestley, TMNT's Kevin Eastman, The Walking Dead's Chandler Riggs, Ghostbuster Ernie Hudson, and much more. Get your picture taken with the Ecto-1, the Doctor Who Daleks, and the Star Wars Stormtroopers. Niagara Falls Comic-Con takes place Friday, June 6th, Saturday, June 7th, and Sunday, June 8th at the Scotiabank Convention Center in Niagara Falls, Canada. Tickets are available at the door and online at nfcomiccon.com. Presented by Niagara College, Canada.
Randy was having a real difficult time at that point, and I don't think they had a good match. It was okay. Nothing like me and Steve.
No, not at all. But I mean, for the first matchup, big matchup, I thought it was actually decent.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yes.
It just was a hard time for Randy.
Yeah.
And then right the next day they were split up. So.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was, I helped break Randy into business. I've known Randy since 74 or 75. So I just see him go a couple years ago. He just finally got himself happy again, had a nice wife, and all the money in the world, you never know.
Yeah.
Just came to an end. That's why you gotta live.
Some people aren't as smart as you and don't realize that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's what my accountant or my attorney says. What's up? What else? Go ahead.
Got Andre the Giant story?
Oh God, Andre and I started together. I drove Andre around when he was John Ferrer. So I took nobody. He wasn't Andre the Giant when he broke into business. He started in Minneapolis with me. In Burnett, he driving around. So you can imagine I took him to Rush Street in Chicago. God, glorious. And then the night at the Downtowner in Charlie drank 106 beers. Drank the water, so the guy was traveling and drank 56. So, then, the one of the demolition downstairs, Barry Darsley, Barry is.
Yeah.
I've seen Barry drink 56 beers.
Oh, yeah.
Very shit up here.
How's the big show with that? How's the big show doing?
I like the lightweight. Lightweight. Go ahead.
Can't you give me a Ric Flair knife head shot?
No.
You know what? I was going to do that too.
Well, I said 2 minutes. I thought you were wrapping me up.
No. Now, you mentioned earlier that it's not a character, it's actually too bad. And with that being said, with your autobiography, there was actually a lot of controversy that was done where some of the actual guys had a back and forth with them. Mick Foley, Hulk Hogan.
But Hogan never got back and forth with me. Foley got punched in the mouth for opening his mouth.
Brett the Hitman Hart.
I haven't said anything about Brett.
If you look, he got a couple of comments against
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's atypical of business. Everybody's going to say something. I see Brett all the time.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, in real life, I'm just saying, it was, you're your own character and you're your own person.
Yeah,
The back and forth.
well, I just gave Foley what I wrote. It's called a receipt, So he didn't like it. I just sent it to him again at WrestleMania. He got mad again. That's paying him a compliment, He's temperamental.
Right.
It's sad, because I was paying him a compliment.
Well, yeah, he said you was actually a stuntman.
No, I said he overstayed his welcome. He turned that into him being too old to be in the business, and I meant jumping off the cages and rolling on thumbtacks and barbed wire.
Right.
You overstayed your welcome.
Yeah.
You beat his brains out, working hard for the fans, but he gets, who knows what Nick does. He just gets, he's paranoid. I saw the only thing come up with. He's a nice guy.
Right.
Beautiful family. And he's got a good deal on the road now with these comedy shows, so he's doing good.
What did you think of Mankind downstairs?
Huh?
What did you think of the Mankind downstairs?
What
Or did you
Mankind?
see him? There was a Mankind downstairs. Did you see him?
I didn't see him, no.
Sam.
Oh, I can't tell him.
Oh, yes, you can.
Lot of those. He's a great, great guy. I've had a lot of fun with Hot Rod. I have one story about him I can tell. Yeah, man, go ahead.
The chemistry you had with the original Horsemen, especially with Tully Blanchard and Double Ended, that was just priceless. I mean, that's
Nothing like
something
it
that.
ever in the history of business. Not even for this day.
Or did you guys work that out before you would come on, or was it just natural?
Just natural. There was no time to work anything out. We didn't work things out back then, man. We traveled. And had fun. And through the fun came the ability was there, but to be good at what you do, you have to like what you do.
Welcome to the Droids You Are Looking For Canada on Facebook, on Twitter, now on G+, and the podcast starts now.
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
This is Droid Talk!
I don't care.
Would you say Dusty?
It wasn't.
When Dusty started booking?
It wasn't worth arguing about. I'm gonna outperform anyway. people are home saying, holy shit, how he could eat so much better than the other guy.
The guy that that puts you over, and I saw you fighting at
Who was that?
Terry Funk.
Oh yeah, Terry.
See, like you were beating Funk when you had that huge 89, 90.
89, 90, yeah.
89, 90.
Yeah.
I just
Terry's a classic.
This guy grew up on me, and sometimes I thought they should come up and say, no, I'm going to lay down for you.
You worry about winning and losing in this business. You're not going to sleep for a little bit.
Do you got a mouse?
No, it's this. You seem to be very fixated on that ice cream.
I'm trying to find it again. I lost the picture.
So what ice cream were you looking at again?
Pendulette's ice cream.
Pendulette's ice cream.
There it is.
Oh, this seems very exciting for you.
You're
But shouldn't you be?
recording this, so,
Yeah,
shut
of course
the
I'm
fuck
recording.
up.
Yeah, I am recording this. I figured you'd be more excited from some of the things you've done today.
I don't know why. You know, it's just an average day in my life meeting
Yeah.
Tony Todd, Burt Young, Ric Flair.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So this is what we're gonna say. This is what day one. We should have like breaking news music kick in, and this is gonna be a breaking news bulletin. Like
Dun, 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 dun,
da-da-da.
As you break your keyboard.
Well, whatever, it had to come in. So we completed day one at Niagara Falls Comic-Con. Before we start, we're going to probably critique it a little bit, and we're not ruining anyone's parade. Just in case we say something not nice, I will say that we did have a great time. We can agree to that.
I had a phenomenal time, sir. Every time I disappeared from you, not trying to bash your balls, but something great happened.
Yeah, it was kind of annoying.
You rounded a corner, I met Burt Young.
That wasn't even fair. And I may have a little bit of man crushes today. I think that overall, should there be a con on a Friday, I think that's where maybe we should start.
And we actually talked about this on the way home. I enjoyed the con on Friday. We got in early. We were one of the first ones. You were in before anyone.
Yeah,
asshole.
Well, I did know how media passes work, and I'm going to plug Niagara Falls Comic-Con again. Thank you for the media pass. I got to meet a couple people. I got to meet Ryan McNabb, and I can't remember his friend from Doing a Geek. It was great to meet some people that I've known for years, but I didn't know
that they were also doing the podcast.
Doing their own podcast. So it was great. We got to meet them. I got to run into Dr. Stevel. I didn't get a chance to talk to him this time. Some guy who thought he was Shawn Michaels.
Let's not start with him.
That was weird.
I'll start throwing chops.
Mankind got mad because he couldn't go out the exit door. It was interesting. I think that let's go with the positives. Okay, let's do like the shit sandwich.
Positives. Once we got inside, me standing in line for 45 minutes.
What are you complaining about? You got a free ticket. I paid for your ticket to go because I didn't want to go alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you have no friends. But no, positives, getting in line early, getting inside early. We had like front row seats to almost any celebrity we wanted. So
absolutely.
To those who bought the VIP passes for the weekend, fuck you. We still didn't need them.
Well, for Friday, no. I'm sure Saturday and Sunday, you're going to need it, right?
Yes, well, that's when Chandler Riggs is going to be there.
Shatner.
Esposito, Shatner.
I wish we could have met him today. I wish we could have met... we were talking about this, too, on the way home. It's Giancarlo Esposito. Because I think he's fantastic from Breaking Bad. And I was really looking forward to seeing him, but we didn't. However, this is another positive as well. I think the Spaced Out was so much better this year.
Yes, and to any of our artists out there listening, the Artist Alley this year is so much better placement, laid out phenomenally.
I agree with that. I think that was such a huge issue, and some friends of mine made that as a complaint last year, which doesn't matter who.
Mind you, my complaint with having it laid out, and this is my personal problem, is you can see all their prints, and it just overwhelmed me. I was just like,
Yeah, it was kind of cool. There was some of them that you were just like, well, I'm such a common, frequent person, I guess, to the artist galleries and things that I'm like, oh, I own that shit. Well, I guess I'm not buying anything this time because I already own all your artwork. I think there was a lot of positives, especially in the Spaced Out. That was a huge thing because I remember last year we were kind of fighting to get around everywhere. But I'm just going to throw one negative. Just there's two negatives ahead of this entire con. One negative, the lack of area for sitting down for the food court. There was no chairs at all. There was maybe 1, 2, 3, and about 6 or 7.
I viewed that as a positive.
Okay.
It was all finger food, more or less. It was like slices of pizza, wraps.
That's some nice McCain pizza.
What else was there? Poutine and fries. You don't need to sit down to eat them. They weren't big meals. You got it quick, in, out. Without the chairs, it gave them more room to have more vendors, more artists, and just it was nowhere near as clustered as it felt last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Like last year, walking through, I was with my girlfriend, her cousin, and her cousin's daughter, and I was pretty much shoulder to shoulder with people the whole time. This time, we were able to walk around, move around. It had a nice layout to it.
Yeah.
Especially taking the food court out of the center, like it was last year.
Yeah, that made no sense.
And throwing it to the wall.
And I think, and that was going to be kind of like the shit sandwich there, is that I didn't like the fact it didn't have any tables, but I liked the fact that it was put off to a corner, so it didn't feel like... I remember that last year when me and Andrew, and I think his son went, we were constantly circling everything like sharks, because you had, first off, you had to find your way in. Now, this is for today, so this could change completely by the weekend.
No, they're not going to change a setup for the ovens.
I'm hoping not. I'm honestly...
They won't, because I'm pretty sure it's also laid out that way in the program guide.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it stays that way, because we're going to go back.
On out.
Yeah.
That was me knocking on wood.
Another positive I felt is that I didn't feel there was much apprehension from anyone. And what I mean by that is that, as an example, me and Brian just walked up to Tony Todd and just had a conversation with him. We shot the shit. And guess who's following us on Twitter? Tony Todd's following us on Twitter, which is pretty awesome.
It is.
Because Brian, to his credit, stunned him. Tony Todd didn't even know what to say to him. Go ahead, what'd you say?
So there's an iconic scene in Candyman where he's lying there and bees are just flying out of his mouth. And to his credit, those were live bees right from start to finish in that scene. It made the scene. I congratulated him for that and told him he's a far better man than me. He did not know how to react.
No, it was totally messed up.
And he essentially basically, paraphrasing was, I was young and stupid and it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, we had a great time with definitely Tony Todd, and we're trying to maybe lock down something with him to have maybe a quick soundbite. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah.
Then also, which was kind of awesome to me, which Brian was pissed off about originally, is that I obviously got to go in a little bit early, and Brian had to wait outside for another hour before he got let in, which is not relevant, but I ended up doing a walkthrough, which was really nice, and I got to meet a cosplayer. I got to meet Zombie Bit Me. Now, I've heard of her before, and I've seen her work, but I wasn't really that familiar. I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know what, I know her work and blah, 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 because that's not true. But I ended up having this conversation with her. She's pretty badass. So what to do? What does any other person do with a hot woman? They get a picture done. And as well, I made sure I got his picture down there. So she's definitely pretty awesome. So when you're at the con this weekend and you're wondering who you should stop by and see, she's definitely the person you want to come see. And just let her know. Say, Todd and Brian say hi. Because, you know, she's a very lovely girl. And she's very... I'm interested in what she's going to wear tomorrow. We're not going to be there, which is sad. But I think that... I'm pretty sure she's going to bring a different costume. So that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. And also, who else did we meet? Who did you meet when I turned the corner? When I was
Burt Young.
Burt Young.
He was Paulie from the Rocky movies. You know him from Sopranos.
Yep. Well, he's done a lot of bit roles, I think.
He has, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. He was in one movie in the 80s that I even stumped him with. He couldn't remember the name of it. Where he played a serial killer truck driver. Yeah, I caught the tail end of it in the 90s. It seemed like a good movie.
It seemed like a good movie at the time, but it wasn't a good movie.
But he was a really nice guy. He kept me there talking. Like, all the celebrities this year that I've talked to were very personable, very down-to-earth.
Yeah, but originally we didn't know how to react. So there was people that we wanted to go see, but we're like, I don't know how they're going to react. Like Kevin Sorbo, to his credit, was sitting there not doing anything, and Brian doesn't know much about Kevin Sorbo. I know Kevin Sorbo from
I know Hercules and Andromeda, but Kevin Sorbo's an actor I did enjoy as a kid. In Andromeda, I did like the show, but I don't know what I'd even say to him, because I looked at him, and the first thing I thought of was, wow, you've lost your physique.
Oh, God. Is that all you're worried about, is the physique? Like,
Like, I understand they age, but he went from being like totally ripped to almost having bitches now.
Oh, dude, bad
I
taste.
hate to say it, but it's true.
Bad taste. Even I would go that far.
Well, I'm glad you wouldn't. That's why you have me on the show. And just cycling back here for a minute, because I just found it. Anyone interested, or anyone who is interested, I should say, about the Zombie Bit cosplayer that Todd was talking about, her webpage is zombiebit.me.
Yeah. I really, really enjoyed meeting her. And
So the trail you left was evident.
Now, let's be professional. Let's be professional, people. Come on now. She was definitely a very nice person, and I'm not gonna sit here and try to play it off that I'm this huge ladies guy, because I'm not. But when you have someone who just made you feel really cool, just having a conversation with them, that was pretty awesome, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I'm just gonna keep stressing how much of a nice person she was. And there was some people even on my even on my Facebook were like, "Oh, she's a really nice person," you know. And you know what? That's pretty awesome, and I'm really happy that I got to meet that person. And then who else did we run into? Oh yes, I ran into Paul Jones. Now last year I posted some videos of Paul Jones, and Paul Jones is the special effects artist for Resident Evil, Silent Hill. And he's actually the leading special effects guy for this TV show Defiance. Great guy. I didn't really talk to him that much last year. It was just more a part of the Q&A. But when I was waiting for Brian to come in, I shot the shit with him for like a half an hour. Like and it's funny because I was prodding him. I'm like, oh.
And you couldn't think to put your phone on record.
It was more starstruck because coming from a background of horror films, which Brian knows very well, that when you get to meet a special effects god like Paul Jones, you're just like, I need to talk to him. I need to throw myself at the floor at him and basically say I'm not worthy. And I ended up getting a photo with him too, which was pretty awesome. He's very smart. Like he's like I was telling Brian, because Brian didn't know too much about him, but he's one of the old school special effects artists. He's the last guy that say, you know what, you want a limb, I will make the limb, and we'll make it look real, and we'll do all the work, like the old school horror. Not like Michael Bay is like, oh, we need to cut limbs off quickly, CGI the shit out of everything.
Quickly, give some turtles some lips.
God, unforgivable. That isn't unforgivable.
The only thing we really did manage to get out of him, though, is the new Resident Evil movie is going to take place right where the old one left off.
Immediately right after the old one left off. And as well, we're not 100%. He said it's not sure if it's going to happen to Detroit or South Africa, or if it's going to happen in Toronto again. Either way, he did say, and this is concrete, and I have no reason not to believe him, this is the last Resident Evil. Mila Jovovich is done after this one. And do you blame her really at this point? I really don't.
I was a fan of the movies, but now they're just getting old. She should have bowed out of them forever ago.
Well, you know, it's all about money, right? Her husband directs it, and she obviously, you know, she wants to be the actor of it, so what are you going to do? What else happened while we were there? We got to see so many things. I saw Kevin Eastman. I was starstruck by Kevin Eastman, the creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We actually got to talk to a lot of vendors too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to. When I did my first initial lap, and I was telling Brian, and he didn't. I don't know if he believed me or not. But when we were doing our lap, when he came in, they all laughed at me because I cursed them when I was walking through. Like the steampunk guy, I'm like, I'm gonna buy something from you, and I hate you. And the girl with the little zombie gnomes, remember that? I'm like, oh, I'm buying something from you too, and it pisses me off. So it was really...
I wish I got that vendor name. There is a vendor there if you go this weekend.
What's that?
They're pricey, but the latex masks.
Oh,
Deathstroke, Deadpool, Bane.
God, I just couldn't
Batman.
justify. It was like, what was it, $150 for that Deadpool mask?
The $120, I think, for the Deathstroke.
Oh. I want it. I want it, but do I want it? That's what it boils down to. It'd be nice to own it, I guess. But it's just so much money. It's just, I'd be like, Spider-Man.
Yes, because they can see that.
Yeah, sorry, Spider-Man. And then finally we get to the crown jewel. We got to meet the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Me and Brian went into this panel going, I don't know how this is going to go, because Ric Flair has never done a con before. He was.
Yeah, he's been to Niagara Falls Comic-Con before.
Has he?
Yes, he has.
When?
I think he was there last year and the year before.
He wasn't there last year.
And he was there the year before.
The year before that was Bret Hart, was it not?
He was there. I seen him.
Did you see him?
Yes.
Do you have hair?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He touched my no-no face.
There's certain topics that I learned that Ric Flair is very touchy about that you just don't want to go there. Especially, what was the one that kind of annoyed him? Well, one thing is that if you're going to quote facts, make sure you know your shit. A long-term friend was there, and his brother, oh my god!
His
If
brother got
AJ is
verbally
listening to
chopped
oh
so
my
bad.
god! If my friend AJ listens to this, he would laugh. So he was quoting, "What was it like to win your first wrestling title against Harley Race?" Unfortunately, that's incorrect. He beat. Who did he beat? He say.
I can't remember.
But it wasn't Harley Race, and he's like, before you quote shit, make sure you know your facts. And everyone in the room just hushed and went, ooh. Rick is Rick. I mean, Slick Rick is always going to be the same.
Actually a funny as hell guy.
Oh yeah, you can tell he was
Who
nervous.
basically hit on every woman in that room.
Yeah, no woman was safe in that panel. And it was nice because, I mean, I've never really had a sit-down conversation with a wrestler before, so Coco Beware, and all I was trying to do was get away from him. Because Coco Beware is still living in that time period of, when I was going around with the parrots, and no one gives a fuck, dude. You got in trouble for making a comment, and you got fired. I had a conversation with Rick. I thought it was a good question. And then I got kind of flamed by Rick. Yep. I don't even know why. I was just kind of like, well, I mean,
you were associated with.
I was associated with the guy, but who got burned previously.
Well, you know what? You got to sit next to our buddies.
Yeah.
You got to be part of the flame war. At least you weren't part of the drunk. Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, you had some issues there. I don't know.
I was 30 seconds from getting kicked out of Comic-Con permanently.
I don't know what to tell you with that, because I was just funny as all hell that I looked over, and I like cosplayers, and you know what, I don't think dressing as a wrestler is cosplaying. You can chastise me as much as you want.
It's delusions of grandeur.
Maybe. I think what really upset me is that this guy kept fucking talking. Like, it was getting to the point that I'm like, how is Brian not chopping this guy? Like, that was...
I was close. If you guys follow our Twitter posts, you will see a picture of how enthused I was sitting there.
Yeah, it was just so annoying. Like, I'm the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Like, shut the fuck up.
You're a drunk-ass hick in Niagara Falls.
Oh, man. And there was, like, another guy dressed up as Mankind. Don't even get me started about that. So this is day one. Is there anything you want to add? I think we pretty much hit everything. Like, Ecto 1 was great. We got to see the 501 Legion.
Yeah, there was the TARDIS there.
The TARDIS definitely was
I'm
there.
not a Doctor Who fan.
The Daleks were there. I saw the 11th Doctor, McCoy. I don't know much about Doctor Who, and I'm not going to try and fake it like other people may have done in the past on this show.
The only thing I wanted to do to cause some nerd rage was to go into the TARDIS and then come out in a Superman outfit and see what people said.
Oh my god, that would have been hilarious. Brian cosplayed. You cosplayed as who?
The Red Hood.
The Red Hood. You know what? Cosplay, and that's my second gripe. That was my first gripe was the eating it. The second gripe was the cosplay. Our fellow fan and sometimes moonlighting guest, Roxy Dark Knight, was there. He had some issues today.
He did.
It was great though. See, that's what I like about Rob, is that he always puts on a happy smile, like a happy face to everything. When you're like, "Oh, Rob," all you can do is just shake your head and just look at him. We had a great time. Brian went as the Red Hood. We got to meet but the cosplaying audience was very small.
They started getting bigger near the end, but I seen something in the program guide when I got home about cosplaying for Saturday.
Well, Saturday's going to be the whole contest, I think it is.
Yeah.
But I did get to see a Lady Death. I did get to see a Deadpool. That made me very happy.
We seen a Jon Snow.
Yes,
an amazing
actually,
outfit.
Very good Jon Snow, may I add. I'm upset that we're not going to be there for the cosplaying award ceremony when they do that. That's Saturday, but
we've seen a bunch of. I'm gonna have to say Assassin's Creed. I don't know the character's
We had
name.
Assassin's Creed we had the Encio. We had the original guy. I don't remember his name for the life of me. Basically, Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2, and the Harley Quinns from Assassin's Creed was there. We saw a couple Harley Quinns from Batman.
That one Joker guy was really good.
We actually had a nice little shot, and you'll see it on the page of where we have, what was it, Harley Quinn, Joker.
I can't remember. You were mainly manning the camera.
Yeah, I can't remember the other two, but you were talking to them at the end, though, when we took that little group shot. We saw a Riddler. There was a shortage of stormtroopers. I know that sounds weird, but every con I go to, there's like, normally they're the huge amount of it. And there was a very small smattering, except for the 501. I don't count the 501 because they're there for...
You know what? I think next year if we go for multiple days,
yeah,
one of those days, I'm just going to wear a plain white shirt that says TK401, I'm not at my post.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Fuck. Okay. Do you have anything you want to add, though?
Nah. Just even something else we didn't touch on that is a positive about this
go ahead.
is the vendors are actually surprisingly cheap this year.
I did know, but you
like,
know what? There's some things that
DC
were...
chess set out right now. If you go to comic book stores and buy them off the shelf, they're like $25 to $29 depending on them. Over here, I picked up 2 today for $10, brand new in bag with book. Like,
and you still tried haggling the fucking guy.
I did.
Well, I finally got my 66 Joker, and I've been sitting on it. Now, the 66 Joker, they came out with this whole series about it, and they retail. The cheapest I've seen it was $24.99. The most expensive I've seen it as $34.99, and the guy let it go for $15. I didn't even have to haggle him. I was like. Okay.
And I would just like to point out on the packaging for this 66 Joker is Robin saying, "Holy interplanetary yardstick."
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
I don't get it.
It's an old 66 joke, Brian. I don't know what you want me to tell you about that. Okay, and Brian got a pile of comic books. You also got
picked
chess
up
pieces. What else did you get?
That was it. I picked up a bunch of the Red Hood and the Outlast comics I was missing.
Yep.
I picked up a 3D cover of Bane #1, New 52, for $5.
It's not bad at all.
Picked up Nightfall. It's basically what Dark Knight Rises was loosely based off of, where he breaks Batman's back. Batman needs to go into rehabilitation.
Yep.
And the 2 chess pieces, and
that's not
hopefully
bad.
I'm going to pick more up on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. I'm going to pick up more stuff. Brian also found a Joker bust for $50, and I hemmed and hawed. I won't lie. I'm kicking myself in the ass right now, but I know that it's
I mainly showed it to him because he didn't want to spend money.
Well, it's because we're going 2 days, and Friday's more of an introduction day. So, Brian, before we end this podcast, what are we doing? What are we doing on Sunday? We had a program.
It's at my house, the program.
Of course. You know what?
But I know we talked. The 2 panels that we wanted to mainly look at was the Burt Young Q&A, which should be fun. And there's one about special effects makeup.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rayner's going to jump into that one. I think, special effects makeup was Paul Jones, and I'm going to go just because it's Paul Jones. I might want to do the 4 o'clock with Ernie Hudson.
Okay, well, you can do that. I'll stay on the floor, grab pictures.
No. He's going to be on the floor. He's going to be on the Act 1. But the only there's a 145 seminar with Shatner.
You can go to that, sir. I'll
Shatner?
take pictures.
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of Shatner.
Really?
I'm pretty sure almost every third question is going to be about Priceline anyway.
I think the only Q&As that I'm going to focus on is Jason David Frank, JDF. You know what? Power Rangers or whatever. Piss off. That's it. I'm going to check out that one. And I might go see Mike Roth. I've met him a few times. He's a really good artist. But I might check out that one. But I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time. I don't think we're going to end up staying the entire day. But I think we'll have a good chunk of it. It's only going to be open for 6 hours.
Yeah, but you got to remember too, we're going that day too with 2 people who haven't been there this year.
Oh, absolutely. So we got to make sure that we keep our wallets extra tight closed because they'll be buying shit. We're like, oh, I want to buy. If anything, I think I want to meet Kristen Huey, who was the other cosplayer we were talking about on the way home. What was she dressed up as again?
Female Aquaman.
Female.
Pulled it off beautifully.
Huh. Are you talking about her boobs or are you talking about the costume?
The costume, actually.
That's a shocker for you.
It is, but it's true.
But Saturday is going to be really the huge day, and I'm kind of happy I'm not going Saturday in one hand because it's going to be so crazy. And here's the thing is that anyone who goes to a con, a good con, not a small town con, maybe 150 people go to. Anyone who actually goes to like the fan expos, you are wiped by the next day. And if you're like a cosplayer, you know this better than anyone else because you're normally running a gauntlet of 2 or 3 days in a row. You feel like shit by the end of it. Today, I didn't feel too bad. I think we had a good. We were there for what, 5 hours?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, we got there at 2. We left at what, 8? Yeah, 5-6 hours. And you know what? I feel great. And it's funny because I was bitching to Brian earlier is that I have a leg injury. I hurt my sciatic nerve really bad. Today was the first day I was able to walk on it without much pain, but I can't wait till Sunday because Rainer is going to be there. Nicole MC is going to be there, which is another min. Paul, who is another min that's going to be there. Myself, Brian's going to be there. Brian's girlfriend Karen's going to be there. And we're going to be using... Don't judge us. Brian's daughter is bait. And what I say by that is, oh, look at the celebrity. Quick, turn on the microphone. Ah, this is Cece. My little niece will be there. And she'll be dressed up as...
a pink Batgirl.
A pink
Complete
Batgirl.
with cape and pink face makeup for the little visor.
She look like the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, shoot.
Dun, 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 dun. No, I'm just joking. All right, so at the beginning of the podcast, you heard a clip of Ric Flair, and we're going to end the podcast with a clip from Ric Flair. Great interview. If you want, on the page, you'll see that I'll be posting the video. I will post all 8 videos I took. But can you figure out which one I was the one asking a question? Let me give you a hint. It's about Vince McMahon. So, from Brian and Mr. J.
Enjoy
A
your
follow-up to that.
chimichangas.
When I was young, here in Canada, we didn't see you as much as in the States. You know, we were big WWF at the time. So when you came up as the real world's champion, and they would blur out the title on TV, that was unbelievable. Any comments on that time period when you first came in?
I was excited to get here.
Yeah.
I had all my friends were here. I'm the last guy to come from the NWA.
Right.
I should have come in '86. I had a chance, but I was so loyal to NWA and I was before Horseman and all that. But I could have come as early as '86, but I didn't, you know. I called Vince one day and I go, well, I'm ready. He said, oh, bullshit. I said, no, I haven't. I said, I also got the belt. He said, send it to me and I'll believe you, okay? 10:30 in the morning. And you were right, I got it. That was it.
That was great. Thank you.
Dumbass Jim Hurd. I mean, dumbass. Hello. Yes, sir.
Did you ever fight the original Sheik?
No, never did. I knew him, but I never did. He was retired when I came out. Yeah. Yep.
The 1992 Royal Rumble was a fantastic match where you won the world title. The talent in that match was amazing. What are your feelings about the match and actually the talent that was in it?
Well, it was one of those things, like I said, I wrestled everybody. So anybody that was anybody in the business was in that ring that day, you know. So it was real cool. Yeah, I don't overthink things like that, you know. I thought it was okay. I never liked Battle Royals. So I never thought that you could really position yourself to look great. And everybody said, that was great, you look so cool. I don't know what I do. You know, stumble around the ring like everybody else, trying to figure out what number I was.
Well, Bobby Heenan called that, his quote from that match was, that was one of the few times where I felt it was real.
Yeah.
Felt it was so emotional.
I just text my agent that I was killing Superman at the table. She goes, who? She's smart. Ask me that again.
Sorry, just Bobby Heenan's quote from that match years later. He said, he was so emotionally invested in it that he felt it was real.
Me or him?
He said that. He felt that.
Yeah. Well, it was. It was, you know, I didn't even know I was going to win it until that day. It wasn't something like I knew about it a month before. So when he told me that, I probably said, "You sure?" And he said, "Yeah." So, okay. It wasn't a question of getting tired. I never got tired. So, yeah, I mean, it was really a cool feeling because I had just, you know, come out of that miserable, depressive place I was at with her. So, it was a huge shot in the arm for me. Yes, sir.
I asked you a question earlier downstairs about young guys who want to get into wrestling because they're kind of interested in seeing what they see on TV. And I know that you told me don't do it. I asked Foley last year, and he said don't do it. I mean, I'm wondering why is it that guys?
It's like ridiculously hard profession to get in. If you were 6'5" and weighed 275 pounds, I might say yeah. But I'd look at it and I'd have to ask her about your athletic background. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons why you wouldn't get it.
But you got guys like, Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson. You got shorter guys coming in now, especially from NXT. I mean, they're athletic, but they're not the iconic vision that Vince would see back in the 80s and the 90s. But they've been hurting their bodies a lot more. But I don't know. I mean.
Well, Daniel Bryan's been in the business, I guess somebody told me 12 years.
Yeah.
So he's been around a long time.
He's been around, but, he's been taken on, but...
Yeah, well, he's a kamikaze pilot out there, man. He's not afraid of anything. And the fans respect that. And that's why they respect him. He works his ass off.
Yeah.
But he's got to be careful because that stuff catches up with you. He's got an issue right now that he's got to take care of it, let it heal correctly. Yes.
Question for you. When Vince was wrestling back in the day, and it was funny for me anyways, what was it like to wrestle Vince McMahon?
Tremendous.
Because he's very stiff to work with. From what.
How do you know that?
Well, I mean, just all his matches with you, that was a great match. That was probably my favorite match I think I've ever seen you in, only because it was Vince McMahon, and what you put him through was great. But even when he was fighting Hogan too, he's fearless for his age. I'll give him that. But
no, what he is he's a guy that would never ask you to do anything he wouldn't do.
No.
And yeah, he is fearless. But he was great. I mean, I was thrilled and honored to be in the ring.
Game over, man. It's game over. Thanks for listening to the Droids You Are Looking For podcast. Stay tuned for next week's podcast.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Yeah, I don't know. But, it's funny. I knew that it entertained people as much as I know that it did. Once I started doing it, I couldn't stop because I got top of the night. If the match sucked, but fell on my face, they loved it. So, yeah, just two more.
I was going to say the biggest pop in one of your matches was when you actually landed a move off the top rope, I think against Carlito.
Yeah.
And that I hit the roof. I thought that was the funniest thing.
Everybody did.
Is there anybody that you were pleasantly surprised that you worked with, that you didn't think you were going to have a good match, but you did? Somebody who caught you off guard?
I found a way to have a pretty good match with anybody else in the ring. And 99% of the guys I was in the ring with were pretty gifted. There was a few that were limited. And, if they were limited in their ability, they made up for it with their ring presence or something. Yep, one more.
Any thoughts on the Ultimate Warrior?
I didn't know him very well. I think he's pretty sad. I only wrestled him twice. So he was leaving when I came in, I think it was sad, I'm glad he got his induction in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, and that, I was watching him on Raw that night. He's looking good at all. And I only saw him once during the WrestleMania weekend, but they said he was sweaty and a lot, and stuff like that. I didn't see him, so I never knew him. I'm just happy for his family and business that he got his home. But it sure shocked everybody the next day. So, yeah, but he did a lot for the company. A lot of stories out there that they were upside down and all that. But that's business. It happens in every successful business. The company paid him, they honored him, and paid tribute to him. That's why you got to go out tonight And you, young lady, is that your daughter? I can't say it to you then. Okay, let me think. Where's your daughter? You looking over there for? Yeah.
Because she's looking at the sexiest man alive.
You gotta stay all night and stay a little longer.
Let's get a woo.
Woo!